It is the Hard Ball Gets AFL show, the 2 Minute Morning. My name's Chris Robinson, in for Nick Rinn. Ryan Daniels and Xavier Ellis are with me as I botch the intro. How you going, guys?
I think you still said 2 minute morning.
Did I say morning or morning?
You've had three cracks at it. 2 minute warning. He's gone 2 minute morning, 2 minute morning, and he said it the third time. And I reckon he knew, and he thought, I'm just going to keep going.
I did ask him when he walked in here to the studio. I said, "How's the little one, mate?" And it was a pause.
Yeah.
Good. Doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're forgiven for that.
Yeah.
We're all in that boat, mate. It's fine. We get it.
Yeah.
Like,
we all have varying levels of
we're
sleep.
all carrying something at this time of year.
Yeah.
I just said I've been on the couch for 3 months.
It's nothing to do with the kids. He's just not allowed.
Couch has got a broken leg too. It's only a matter of time before the old fat ass lands, before I wake up on the floorboards.
Hey, how are you going, by the way? Because I was over in Adelaide for Gather Round, and obviously you were prepping for your big weekend there, where you'd somehow managed to wrangle yourself 4 or 5 days off.
Have a listen to this too. Remember last week I set it up by saying 2 weeks ago the boys were in Broome.
Yes.
Week earlier, they were in Augusta with them.
Yep.
I wasn't there, so Dad, kid-free. Then I had Gather Round, kid-free.
Yeah.
And then potentially Em's going to Melbourne this weekend.
With the kids?
And taking the kids.
Unbelievable.
So that is a month of kid-free. Again, I've still got so much brownie points. Honestly, we could divorce for 10 years, I'd come back and I'd still be probably the primary carer. But, no, funnily enough, kids got gastro, so Gather Round. I was meant to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In the end, I got there 4 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, because this is. Let me just take you back a step, because I'm over there.
Yeah.
And I know you're coming over there, and we hadn't spoken, right? There's no text. What are you up to? Because I knew you were going to be getting up and about.
But I would usually throw you a bone and say,
yeah, of course you would. But I was working and you were not working,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to hear from anyone who wasn't working, because it was going to depress me. But then I bumped into somebody and they said, "No, Dave's not coming.
Yeah.
His kids are sick.
Yeah.
He can't come." And I was like, "Oh, he's going to be so flat."
Yeah.
Because you'd been winding up to that for quite a long time. So you did get there in the end.
And I wrote in the group chat, the Franga squad. No, the Armchair Experts squad, different chat.
Very different chat.
No,
Very different.
no, just to clear up what that is. And it's inappropriate, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Clearly, yeah.
When you're out at a bar or a pub, the old-fashioned condom machines.
Oh, yeah, the old days. They still have those?
Yeah, I don't know, but you grab them.
There's a couple floating around.
Grab one, and you see your mate at the bar, and you walk over and just give him the old... 2 beers, please, mate, or 1 beer, but you put the Johnny on the shoulder and they walk around with it for hours sitting there. Like you don't, because you can't see it. You cannot see it.
Because you've unpacked it.
Unrolled it.
So it's all that sticky sort of the latex.
It's just sitting there.
Yeah, I thought you were in the packet.
No. Yeah. So you wrap it over the shoulder.
Right.
And you're sitting there and you might go, especially back in the old days when there was a single guy or whatever, would try and get amongst it. And he's just got a dinger over his shoulder.
Did you ever level up and pump a bit of the soap into it as well?
No, that's disgusting. That is disgusting.
Come on, Ryan.
There's a line.
Anyway, the Armchair Experts, I said to them, boys, I can't come. I'm done. Unfortunately, I'm missing out this time. And then Em booked me a flight. So she went and booked at 9:30 on Saturday morning.
Works for Qantas, must be nice.
Got there and I watched half of the Freo game.
Oh, yeah, so you got to that
second
game.
half of it.
Where'd you sit?
Pepsi Area.
That place was going off.
I did not see one kick of the football, not one bounce of a football in the second game, the Cats v Bulldogs. I went down to the rooms after to say good day to Hawk, and I just assumed he played well. So I was like, well done, mate, great game, da-da-da-da. I didn't look at the stats or anything. I didn't know he kicked a goal. He was dog shit. I didn't know Jack McRae was sub.
Jack McRae was the sub.
No, he was in my fantasy side. I had him out in the field.
Bevo got him.
No, not one kick. I could have watched the game come flying back as I was live.
That Pepsi thing was going off. So where I was doing my nightly crosses
you don't reckon.
was next to the fancy room, their version, Ian McLaughlin room, which is their version of the chairman's lounge or whatever. It's So it's all Dylan's there and Goyder's there. All the big dogs are sitting.
Not the Pepsi squad.
No, and then, but there was this room where you could go into afterwards, have a couple of beers. It was very low key, very quiet, a lot of people in there. And then someone said, "Oh, I've got passes to this Pepsi room." As my camo, he knew someone in there. We were like, nah, mate, we're not going to
Well, they weren't scanning him.
We got over there, and this place was like a nightclub.
Mate.
It's all black. There's lights strobing.
Yeah.
It was no
free
footy.
Pepsi
you
on
wouldn't
tap
have even known
everywhere.
there was a game of footy. Yeah, I don't think it was Pepsi on tap. I'll give you the hot tip.
Something a bit harder.
Mate, you should have seen it. So they weren't scanning the tickets.
Right.
So I
a
just
free-for-all.
walked in and showed and got my wristband. But the pot bellies, I thought the pot bellies were a pop group.
Yeah, no.
They were hard.
Hardcore.
Hard dance
Pot
stuff.
bellies.
Hard.
He would have been
And then we got kicked out.
He would have
big
been
names.
They didn't like the mosh pit.
channeling his 08.
Yeah, all the big names from 15 years ago.
But I had no idea the pot bellies. I know they have that.
But it was a big name. It was big name central. Like you could not walk around anywhere without seeing. I had this moment where Andrew McDougall, who's player manager for a bunch of players, Tim English, and all. So I'm walking to get on a bus to go to Mount Barker, and I'm on the phone to somebody. Can't remember who. I walked past Mitch Cleary, waved to him, go past Sauce, Stephen Silvani's walked past with a bunch of his missus and a couple other people. And then I see McDougall walking towards me. And when you're about 50 metres away and he waves, so I wave.
They're not waving to you.
Shea Bolton was in front of me, so he was waving to Shea Bolton. But then we had a chat. But
Who was the most
people everywhere.
Who was the most unexpected big name that you saw?
I don't know about unexpected.
Other than the pot bellies.
No, everyone was expected. I mean, it was literally everywhere though. Like there's Koshy, there's Nathan Buckley, there's Hodgie's walking around with his family in the footy festival wanting to die. Because he was.
I can't remember seeing anybody.
You could
not
just
not a soul. I sat with my 4 mates and I can't remember talking.
Hodgie had he had 2 or 3 kids there. I can't remember.
Hodgie's got a handful.
But he's walking around this footy festival because it's all just punters everywhere, and so every 2 seconds people ask him for a photo. Can you sign this card? And he's just trying to be a dad.
It was full on.
So is it fair to say you guys came from the Jeremy McGovern school? He did an interview when they were still on the East Coast last week talking about the fact that they were staying on the East Coast for the whole week. And this is his quote. All the dads are enjoying getting a couple of days away from the kids, which is great. And then quickly threw in there, obviously we miss them and love them.
Yeah.
Good save. Good save,
Similar
Gov.
vibes.
Well, and you find enough oxygen the day after a session to FaceTime them with about 2 minutes of energy. Then you put the phone down and think, thank goodness that I'm not dealing with that.
Just needed to get through that. No, it was a very good weekend. Are we diving in?
Let's dive in. Who wants to take the new cherry?
I'll go first. I want to go to North Melbourne. Look, it's pretty clear they're not going to be a very good side this year. That no surprises there. But there's 2 players I want to highlight a little bit statistically. Big boy, Charlie Comben.
199 centimetres.
Yeah, big man. They call him Chom, I think. Chom is his nickname. 25 disposals, 8 marks. He had 13 intercept possessions.
Yeah.
He's only 22 years old, so he's always been a forward, and they pinched hit in the ruck. And then
They need someone down there. Yeah.
So he went back there, and he looked pretty good. Like, the ball was coming in there thick and fast.
No, I'll pay that. He did look pretty good.
First game of the season, 25. Hats off to him. Then the other guy I want to talk about quickly is Tom Power, who we have covered a bit in this podcast. But just some comparisons on his numbers this year compared to his career. So career, 16 disposals a game. Now, this includes this year's averages too, right? So he's been boosted.
Yeah.
24 this season. 24. So he's jumped
and
8.
got stitched up on the weekend because he tagged.
15 tackles on the weekend.
We tagged Neil after half time or whatever.
Guess how many tackles he had in the first 3 games of the season?
7.
15.
It was 7. And guess how many he had on Friday? 15. So, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Complete spin. 5.8. Is that tackles or marks?
That would have to be.
Must be clearances and tackles. So anyway, 5.8 of each. He's got the same, and before that wasn't even half of that. So he's clearly jumped up. He's raised his game to another level. So they just got to keep finding guys. Comben looks like he might be a 5.
I don't want to use him as a tagger again, though.
Yeah.
I don't want to use him as a tagger again.
I'm fine.
Chase the footy.
I'm fine with him learning roles.
But he's not your tagger.
You know, reckon?
No.
But is it one of those ones where you tag and you learn some of the tricks from the guys?
Lockie Neal was off his head.
Midfield.
He was just going crazy. But go get Mick Shitburger from the 2s if you want to tag.
He's been playing pretty well back there.
Huge numbers in the 2s.
For example, Liam Shields in the side, but make Pup do that role. Like, Liam Shields is perfect at it if you need someone to do it.
Yeah. Keep an eye on Mick Shitburger. What pick was he? Rookie draft.
I'll go Brisbane Lions. The question I was going to ask, so Lockie Neal tagged out because of the Tom Power tag.
He's related to Matthew Leuenberger. He's one of his distant cousins.
Half cousin, yeah.
The hyphen Shitburger Leuenberger. Lockie Neal, when he got subbed out, he couldn't find the footy after a huge first half. It was off the grid sort of tag with Power.
Yeah.
Do you reckon when the option was thrown up to him 10 goals up or 11 goals up and Tom Power was doing a reasonable job as the tag, he's just like, My ankle is a bit sore now.
How's the ankle lock? Nah, it's a little tight.
I thought that too. When he was subbed off, I was like, there's absolutely, I know he has a sore ankle.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, nah, he just cannot be bothered running around with someone up his clacker.
Probably don't need a third Brownlow. I'll be right.
Nah, and another one, last one, point, and I want to discuss this. Hugh McCluggage, he had 36 disposals, played well. He's 26 now.
Yeah.
Never won a best and fairest, never been All-Australian.
No,
never done any of that.
We think he should have been.
But he hasn't been.
Okay.
What is Hugh McCluggage? Is he going to get into that level, or is he always going to be, and I use my A graders pretty thinly, is he always going to be a B pluser?
I think so.
He's not going to be an A grader?
Contract?
I think so, yeah.
So he can go. I think if he's going to get to the A level, he might have to leave. Or he's going to have to they're going to have to make him the A grade guy. But you've got Fletcher coming through, you've got Ashcroft coming through. There's another Ashcroft. Through. And Neil's not going anywhere for a couple of years at least. So
I thought he was leaving.
Oh, good one, good one. I think it's going to be tough for him to get to that level.
If it hasn't happened, we've got a pretty big sample size by now.
He's 26.
He's 26. He's played 155 games. Yeah. So he's on the other side of the
I think
mountain.
anytime I look up their age and they're over 25, I'm like, you probably are what you are.
Like he did
Unless they're a big guy and then there's a little bit of a scope.
He did 17 centre bounces on the weekend, played 36 touches.
Yeah.
And then he'll have 6 centre bounces and play on the wing and be rarely sided. Is he midfield, or is he... Because we loved him, didn't we?
I think we do love him.
When he was 23, I think we thought he was going to be a
he can do both.
grader.
I think he can do both, and maybe his versatility gets in the way.
I think it kills him a bit.
Because they're like, we don't have a wingman this way. Hey, Hugh, can you go back out to the wing? Yeah, I don't know.
Port Adelaide, Ivan Soldo, big shout out to him, just going solo against Essendon's 2 rucks.
Soldo, we like that.
Did them both. Should we talk about the midfield trinity thing? Because it's kind of been done a bit this week in terms of which trio of midfielders.
I thought you were going to tell me they all went to Trinity College or something.
They all come out of Trinity, which is amazing.
I thought you were talking about the NBA Trinity. Have you heard of that? We can't talk about it on this podcast. But if you're over 18 and you want to Google it.
Does this belong in the Franger group chat?
No.
It's probably worse
it's
than
not
that,
even a fruity group chat. You just have to have been done one night to get in it. Yeah. You got your membership.
So if you're picking 3 midfielders to go to build a team around going forward, are you taking Rosie was just on another planet on Friday night. Are you taking the Rosie, Butters, Horne-Francis triumvirate?
Well, we spoke to Miss Georgiades this morning on radio, and I said, is Rosie is he in the conversations the best player in the comp? And our WhatsApp group chat was going around saying he actually might be the best player in the comp at the moment.
He's entered that level of conversation, which is that's rare air, because normally there's like 3 or 4 dudes we put in there. Bond's always in there.
Nah.
He's in there.
He has to be in there.
Yeah.
He was unreal on Friday. He was just doing what he wanted.
But I think he was the best performer of the weekend.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
His ability to, and I've compared him to a few times, the downhill skier who I don't ski, but he does that through traffic. And once he's got the footy in his hand, you're not tackling him. He's got that little bit of ablet about him where wasting your time trying to get him, because he's powerful, he can sidestep you, he just keeps moving
It's funny, remember when Kane Corns was big on that in the first year? Rosie's going to be way better than Sam Walsh. I know Sam Walsh is a really good player.
But then he backpedalled.
Yeah, he backpedalled
and then he said, I got that wrong.
I'll tell you what.
And now he's going back to being right.
No one's taking Walsh over Rosie.
No one is.
Like, I like Walsh, but Rosie, the difference
more damaging,
is the damaging, and 24-year-old captain as well.
Surprises me he's captain.
And to be best on ground and probably best for the weekend, on the weekend where your state is hosting the whole AFL, that to me is like a statement. It's like when the All-Star game in the NBA is in that guy's city and he wants to win the MVP.
He can win the Brownlows.
It's very similar to that. Let's go to Gold Coast. I love stories like this. Sam Closey.
Yes.
Werribee. Is that one of Michael Barlow's for the Michael Barlow factory? Yeah. 22 disposals, 8 marks and a goal. He's 21 years old. I just love the way he used the footy.
But he's ready to go. That's the thing.
Yeah. He won't come out of that team. They trying a few different guys at halfback. Flanders was okay there. He looked really good on halfback in the wing, more of a wing role. But I just thought he looked like AFL ready. It was alarming how ready.
But that's the thing, and that's why... So he was taken in the draft.
Yeah.
And I haven't really thought about it too much, but the mature ages that are taken in the draft, so Manor, another Werribee product, if you go through it, I think they're the ones that usually kick on with it. The mid-season throw up the stumps a little bit more.
Mid-season's rarer. SSP's pretty good.
Yeah, but I just think if you're drafted as a mature age,
That's a real statement.
that's a sign that the club think you are a good. You're not going to be the superstar number one draft pick.
No,
but you are
you're
certainly
probably gonna play.
You're a contributor. We're not using this pick to develop you. We think you're developed enough to go.
I don't think he comes out of that team. The other one I want to talk about is Mac Andrew, who looked really good.
Oh, Mac Daddy, mate, he was outstanding.
Well, he had 16 intercept possessions,
Yeah.
which is a massive number. He also had 8 turnovers. So there's a bit of his game he's got to tidy up. But he just had those moments where you're like, oh, he's not going to get that.
I think he got
And
stung really early with a couple of turnovers and in goals.
A couple of nervous
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
But there's something there.
He's one of those guys you just got to stick with, right? You just
Absolutely.
gotta
That's
say,
play
this is
every
your
game.
role. You're here.
I reckon
we're backing
Dimmers,
you in.
the changes he made last week was 7 changes or
Yeah.
something. I reckon he's pivoted already and gone, hold on, there's still
Same
a lot
old.
of development to
Yeah.
do here. So I need to get these kids in. I need to play them. And if we win, we win. But this is about 2 years from now.
Well, he said that 80% of the premiership team was on the list.
Well, he might be
can't
proven right.
But as I said when we did the review, it can't be the 80% we've seen.
No.
So it has to be the other ones that we haven't
play
seen.
this guy. Closey
Yeah.
coming in is good. They've still got a couple other kids that haven't played. So I think it's and Ethan Reid, good seeing him get a game. Exciting times.
Let's go to Fremantle Dockers. Let's quickly start with, obviously, we all know what happened. I just want to have a quick conversation around the captain's review because we had it on the radio the
You
other day.
don't like it.
Well, you were for it?
I'm for it, but the only way I would say yes is to have it as there's no more reviews throughout a game unless the captain calls for it.
Yeah.
So you might get one a quarter, and if you get it wrong, you lose it, and if you don't, you get to keep it. But no more like I was at the West Coast Sydney game for Triple M. I think the first 4 scores were reviewed, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So we want those goal umpires making firm decisions, and then the captain can make it.
You heard the other day and you thought I was just wanted to get home, but I'm like, this is the 5th one we've had.
No, it's insane.
It's out of control.
But so if we just turn it over to, all right, well, it's the umpire's decision unless you appeal. The problem with the appeal, and I understand it, is how do you even bring it in? Like, how quick does that player have to react? Because it's like cricket where you have the 30 seconds between deliveries where you have that chance.
So my point is you wanted to review the mark.
Yeah.
So the game stopped because the umpire blew his whistle. Cottrell mark.
Yeah.
In comes Pearce and says, no, I want to review that.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Yeah.
So well, in that scenario, it's easy because he was tackled. So you just go, right, well, it's a ball up right there.
Cottrell would have been able to get that handball out easily.
Yeah,
easily.
Guess.
So then you're going, well, Carlton, stiff bickies is now a ball up. Cottrell
I guess in that case then, would Cottrell have tried to claim the mark? Because one of the umpires called it touched.
But if the umpire says play on, clearly he's not claiming the mark. It's a must-win minute to go.
What I'm saying is that the instinct into the player is to go, I'll just see if I can get away with this.
No, not with a minute to go and play on call. You're going hell for leather to get that onto someone else. So the only point is, if you challenge that and it cogun's a ball up, well, all of a sudden the person who's got the ball has been disadvantaged.
Yeah.
He has every opportunity to flick a handball to someone inside 50.
It's very difficult to do.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think
the sport doesn't really lend itself, right? So NFL, cricket, they're all sort of stoppage-heavy sports.
Yeah.
And you could see it being used for the wrong purposes. A team breaks away, they're streaming out the field. Oh, hang on, I want to check this.
Yeah,
ball was touched back here.
I'm not for it. I just think that it would have been such a disadvantage for Carlton.
It doesn't seem to have the mechanics of it can't work.
Jackson, just don't hit it there.
Yeah, I know. And there was a couple of those.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Tracy was a mark on the wing.
Oh, just run it down your chest. Anyway.
The other WA club, West Coast, shout out for Brady Hoff, who did a really good job on top Papley.
Yeah.
Going into that game, totally thought Papley could tear West Coast a
Didn't get a touch. Did not get a touch. He's had some tough jobs, Hoff. Mm-hmm. Really tough jobs.
One of those quiet achievers.
Kobe Waitman, he's had...
Curnow.
The last year.
That was fed to the wolves.
That was rough, yeah.
The Harley Reid, this might become the Harley Reid kind of game. I'm sure he's going to have many games as we go along, but this was a real kind of Harley Reid statement game. The early goal, the 7 fend-offs, which is one off the all-time fend-off record.
Someone will absolutely shit-mix him.
Well,
because you get so confident you can do it over and over.
He kind of got done a couple of times.
Yeah.
But he kind of loved it.
He would love it.
That's
but
what
there'll
I
be
like about him.
A Luke Hodge equivalent of whoever who just go, no, kid, I know what you're going to do, kid, and I'm coming hard.
But that's okay, though.
That's great. It's great for the game.
It's like guys in the NBA who go up to try and block dunks. It's kind of like, you're going to get dunked on sometimes. But you love to see the appetite. And he's totally got the appetite for it, right?
And the best thing is, too, he's not fit. So he did it in such short bursts or whatever. But we do sing praises of this young man. way too much, except for the weekend.
Well, like I said to you on the radio, I was like, there's been a lot of talk about him. Before the game, he probably had more back pages than disposals for the year.
Sure.
But when you have a game like this, we should be talking about it. I tweeted about
Which
the tackles,
makes it a
the
bit
broken tackles, and some blokes having a crack at me about, no. I'm like, no, mate.
Nah, this is justified.
But it does
You're
make it a
allowed
bit
to call
sad,
this-
doesn't it?
Yeah,
that we've now smashed it so
Well-
much. Like, on radio, I'm like, I'm not playing his highlights. I've done it too many times
I
now.
think when you have that game, you're allowed to talk about it. I think we need to settle into the proper rhythm of him.
Darcy or Harley Reid, rising star.
Nah, Harley Reid should have.
Harley Reid, 100%.
I watched both those games from start to finish.
Well, as you know, I didn't see a kick of it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think it
I had
does?
to I just see today and go, I kicked 3.
Do you know who I thought was unlucky is St Kilda.
Wilson?
Which one?
Wilson.
Oh, Darcy Wilson. Yeah.
He had
he's
some
good.
really big moments.
Yeah,
in that-
he's
like
shown a
that
bit.
one. Yep. Who is it?
You.
Are we back to me? Jeez,
Yeah.
it's moving fast, aren't we? Okay, let's go to Sydney. I just want to talk about Logan McDonald for a little bit. So, 11 goals this year. He's had a couple of good moments. He kicked 32 last year. Are you surprised by that?
That's Ollie Henry.
Yeah. So
How many goals did Ollie Henry kick last year?
I listened.
Yeah.
I was listening when you guys were doing the Ollie Henry thing. I was like, there's no way he's kicked that many
No,
goals.
that's what everybody said.
What? And he's going to kick 50 this year.
He will. It's a sneaky
Yeah,
goal
that
kicker.
was unreal.
So I went back. He's played 49 games now, Logan McDonald.
Yeah.
So they've also got the bye this week. I went back just to see how are other key forwards that are going really well right now tracking after 49 games. So I went to Nick Larkey and Charlie Curnow because I only had 3 minutes to do it before we came in here. Curnow, the same number of games, had 60 goals. Mm-hmm. And Larkey had 77. Logan has 67. So he's pretty much right in between those two guys.
Tell you what, Logan's doing really well this year. Getting a lot of Joe the Gooses.
He's getting a lot of
So many.
But am I right in saying, watching a lot of footy this year, that is a real way that key forwards are getting goals now because it's the
Turnovers.
over the back one.
It's just the turnovers.
Yeah,
You can't turn it over in certain areas.
and then
isn't
you
it?
just leg it, and then the ball's coming over the top. So while I think it used to be just a old mate sitting in the goal square,
But
waiting for
also
the shot.
you rely on...
But there's a bit more work to the Joe the Goose now.
A little bit more, but you
Yeah.
also rely on your mate. Players these days too, they generally come at the kicker.
Yeah.
So to force them to, so usually you just start on your man and make them kick the goal. You're not getting a goal. No way.
yeah,
now
yeah,
you're forced to run at the
gotta
bloke.
go.
Like Tom Stewart did it brilliantly
The
with
Nick
Luke
Hind.
Bruce.
What
That
about
was
the Nick
amazing,
Hind one?
yeah. That
You
was
see the Nick Hind absolute shank.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
And someone said he was passing it. I was like, Jesus,
He didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tom Stewart did a rip of Luke Bruce the other day where he went and Bruce ended up falling over and made a meal of it. But, the Joe the Goose, he's going well.
He's going well. I just
See
think,
the one that you said's going to Freo?
no, I just said that they will be interested in
I've
him.
just made that up.
They'll be interested in him. He still hasn't signed yet, although it sounds like he's probably going to.
It's St Kilda Football Club. Who got their ears over a bit of Ross Lyon over the weekend?
He always gives you something. Yes.
The Lance Collard?
Oh, that was good. And,
Yeah.
I
what
lost
was-
my licence just due to points.
Was it?
Outstanding.
And then lent his car to Lance Collard to drive it around for a couple of months, got him back with a full tank of fuel, and then he subbed in the UFO business at half time.
the aliens
What was
thing was
with the
great.
aliens?
Mate, he was right off his rock. I loved it.
It's real Kevin Sheedy area.
Yeah,
It's
no,
fantastic.
it was
when
great.
Ross is on, he's on.
But I am going to add, so they're 2-2, but they've scored. So we used to say get to 80 points, and it's hard to hard to lose a game at 80 points. Do you know what I mean? Like you're going to be in it if you can
You're in
score
it.
80.
Particularly in that era.
67, 67, 68 points St Kilda Football Club have scored this year in 3 of their games. Butler, Higgins, Membry, as much as we think it's a nice little forward line with a couple of young kids in there as well, they just don't kick a score.
They don't kick goals. They're one of the lowest scoring teams in the AFL.
67, 67, 68.
Not enough.
So I know they've got some nice players everywhere, and Sinclair, Wanganeen, Miller was incredible. He's such a beautiful
Bonner's
footballer.
getting a ton of the footy.
But at the other end, it's a weak forward
This has always
line.
been the Ross thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this is a Ross thing, right? So he's aware of the weak forward line. So he just wants that footy to be held up as long as possible.
But were they a weak
maintain
forward line
possession.
the last couple of years?
No, they weren't scoring a lot of
Yeah.
points. But King's pretty much the lone big guy
That's
up there. I
it.
know there's Membry up there and Kamenides up there. They need another guy.
Yeah.
They need another big
But
guy.
not
to come
another
through.
guy like a big dope. Like they
No,
need
they need
a
like
skill.
someone who can move around a bit. I
like
mean,
a high draft pick.
Well, ideally, you need the Charlie to the Harry. And I'm not sure which one King is in that.
Yeah.
King's probably more Harry than he is Charlie.
yeah.
He's probably halfway between.
Half and half, yeah.
he's but you need something for King because, like, there's a little mosquito fleet they've got.
Kilda finals?
They're going to be
No.
around the mark.
I think no.
They're going to be
No,
around the mark.
Just short.
think no.
Just short.
Ross will get him close.
when he gets his licence back.
Just for points.
Back to me.
Yep.
There's 3 clubs who haven't won a last quarter this year so far. West Coast, North Melbourne, and who? Someone surprising.
I'm not saying Hawthorn because they came home hard on the weekend.
Hawthorn did come home like a truck on
Someone
Sunday.
surprising.
Someone very surprised.
Collingwood?
Nope.
Is it Queensland?
Nope.
Geelong.
Geelong is correct.
Cats.
Just a little watch. They're
Shop
unbeaten,
early.
but they're just starting to run out of puff a little bit late in games. So that's just a little watch for Geelong. Brian Myers, shout out to him, leading the Cats in coaches' votes.
Yeah.
Is he really?
And was
He's having a
superb
really
on the
good
weekend.
year.
Well, did you see the top
And
disposal
that's
getters?
such a tough role as well.
So in that game, when I reviewed the numbers, it was like Bont, Libba, Trelaw.
Yep. And the potbellies.
Massive numbers. A lot of Pepsi.
Potbellies, Pepsi. Huge
No, but then
numbers.
it was like Jeremy Cameron had 27, Bowes kicked 2 and had 20 odd.
Yeah.
The forwards were the ones that really did the damage. So the Geelong midfield's a bit thin, and then the Brian Myers of the world in there as well. They're the ones that are probably getting the job done.
Do you know, like Grind, because he's kind of got that short brown hair. It's sometimes when you're just watching the game without binoculars or whatever, not on TV, you get confused between a few different players. But because of the way he kicks the footy and the way he moves, he's so distinguishable.
I end up saying I thought he was shit early days.
Oh, I didn't think he'd be this.
I just thought the kicking style was going to catch him. And
I love it.
I don't think they thought he'd
It's
be
so
this.
unorthodox. No way.
They thought he'd
I know
be
they're clever, but
19, 20, 21, 22 guy on the list. He's turning into a top 10 guy now.
Mate, I'm absolutely shocked by Brian Myers. And when they say, if you ever want anyone kicking the ball inside 50, it's Brian Myers to get the goals.
Yeah.
How does it hit the target?
I don't know.
It's staggering.
It's unorthodox.
It's the Jim Furyk of golf swings.
Him and Stewart would be leading their BNF, I think.
Oh, jeez.
I think so.
Yeah,
Pretty
I'm Stuart there.
hard to go. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Don't know who
It
bowled on
didn't
the
say much.
weekend.
Didn't say much of it on Saturday night.
Yuzo?
Are you, mate?
I'm back. Jeez, it comes around fast.
Yeah, it's every 2 minutes.
It's every 4 minutes.
Sorry.
Richmond. Okay, so 2 of their losses have come by 7 points and 5 points. They haven't been miles off it. And even in the 5-goal Port loss, I watched that game. They weren't that far off the mark.
They got in front?
Yeah, they were in front.
Third quarter or something?
And then it just they lost at the end. So they got West Coast this week, so they're 1-4 going into that game. They'd be absolutely dead keen on coming out of that with a win.
Put the West Coast glasses on.
Yep.
They needed Vlosten to get a week.
Yeah.
And they needed... Who got rubbed out last week?
Baker.
They needed Baker to get 2
weeks, yeah.
I think the difference in that game is going to be Dusty and Bolton.
Yeah, clearly.
It's daylight between the next 2 best.
Bolton does love playing well at Optus.
Yeah.
Remember
that last quarter? It was the best last quarter of football I've ever seen against the Dockers, I reckon, over here. Might have kicked 2 and had 13 touches, but it was like...
Is that the game he refused to talk to me after the game? No. He just doesn't do post-match interviews.
With you?
No, with anyone. So he's just so shy. He just doesn't want to do it.
Right.
He just, so you go up, he's just had the game of his life. He's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not doing it.
Jeez, it's hard at Richmond then, because
And you've
Dusty
got-
doesn't do it either.
Well, you know what it's like. You've got about 15 seconds to get this interview ready to go because it's going live.
Yeah.
And then I've just seen Big Nank and I was like, come here, big fella. And he was like, yeah.
I know Richmond, I said a few weeks ago, I thought they were going to get Collingwood. Carlton that night, they got rolled just. And they lost 3 players.
That was their 5 point.
They have lost a lot of power with Bolton, Bolter, Lynch,
Jacob
Hopper, Prestia, Grimes.
What I will say...
All not in at the moment. I think Grimes might be back.
There's 3 players I want to see in the team for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Tom Brown,
A1.
Can use the footy.
They got to hand the keys over.
He looks like he's a mature age. Was he drafted out of somewhere?
No, I think he's a kid.
Mate, he's got strong legs
He's a
on
big
him.
boy. Kane McAuliffe. I know he only played a quarter, but I like the size of him. And he's from Port Augusta. Or and Sonsi. Just keep those 3 guys in the side. There's others too, but keep them in the side.
Thomas Dow, when he rolled his ankle on the weekend, I was like, that's a broken ankle. He came back on. Then his ankle went under him again.
Yeah,
he ran off again.
Nah.
And then he went back on and found the footy. And to his credit, toughed it out.
Yeah,
I don't know if he got subbed off in the end. I can't
remember who got subbed off.
I flicked over to the Hawthorn game. But he toughed it out for a long period of time. Hawthorn Footy Club, again, didn't get the chocolates, charged home like a freight train, had a shot at goal to go in front. I think we spoke, Rhino, a few times about their kids. And, Rob, I don't know if you were over the Hawks a great deal. They got a lot of kids, and we thought that maybe Connor McDonald was going to be the one that sort of popped out above it.
Quite
He had 7 disposals on the weekend.
Was he the one who missed the chance
missed
to
the
put him in
chance
front?
at the end?
How did he miss that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Off the boot, I'm just like, oh, yeah.
He actually took too long to kick the footy.
I don't know how he missed it.
It was really weird. Like
he would kick that 100 out of 100 if you did it training.
Really strange.
Not even charging. Like, he wasn't full speed. It was a nice rhythm.
Plenty of time.
Just missed it. So the Hawks go down by a few points. They're now 0-4. Is that an honourable defeat?
It's perfect. That's a perfect result.
That's an honourable
perfect
defeat.
result.
You're taking that?
Yeah, 100%.
So I heard who they interviewed, someone on, I think it was the president or CEO, was like, I think we outperformed ourselves last year a little bit. Coming into this year, some people had expectations that we could push towards the 8. Internally, we're certainly not in that conversation.
Oh, God,
no. But people were putting him in around the 10th and whatever.
Could Hawthorn bounce? Yeah,
correct. And they were like, no, I think we completely outperformed ourselves last year at times.
Yep.
Beating Collingwood, beating Brisbane. I think they've been another top 4 side. So I think they've almost skittled the top 4. This is where they are. Not the shit they've served up a little bit earlier in the season. They'll topple 3 or 4 more teams along the way.
Yeah.
But the first half was poor again.
Awful. Yeah, Meek was good.
Yeah, he was good. So that was his best game. And what does it do with the CEO's boy?
Well, he's not the CEO anymore, isn't he?
His Reeves gone, has he?
I'm pretty sure he's not the CEO.
He did. I think he might have left.
I'm pretty sure,
I think he did, yeah.
Which makes it awkward for Ned now.
Hard.
Yeah, difficult. Harder.
Harder, yeah.
You would think so.
Lloyd Meek's making it hard for Ned right now.
No, he played well.
So they wouldn't mind massively being 0-4. A team that is minding massively being 0-4, Adelaide.
Wow.
So history shows you're pretty much done now, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're, Sydney did it from 0-6 a few years ago.
I think 2010 we started 0-6 or 1-7 or 1-6 or something and made the finals.
Yeah.
But charged
you guys
home,
compared to Sydney, compared to this Adelaide side,
but charged home and got rolled by Freo over here. We just ran out of steam because we shot ourselves in the foot all the way to the start of the season.
Yeah. The Morabito first season.
Goal, correct.
So some real concerns here for the Crows, obviously, and for gather round as well. Big occasion, 0-4, just sucked the absolute life out of Adelaide. Jake Saligo,
love him.
I like
him in the centre square. Bit of a statement of intent. So Crouch started on the bench, Saligo in there from the get-go, which was nice.
I was big on that when they came over to. Did you call the Adelaide game? And I said, just put Saligo in the middle.
Yeah.
And see what happens elsewhere.
I like the little blonde tips on the side.
He's got a bit of power, a bit of ratty about him.
He's a mongrel.
Yeah, he's good.
Tips on the side.
It's like a mullet, but with these 2 little blonde tips on the side, just because he's really feral.
But he repaid them. He was terrific.
Absolutely. Do you know who that reminds me of? It reminds me of Freo last year. Everyone coming in was going, hey, this is it, Adelaide, here we go. Adelaide. And then they start like a busted ass, and the season's just about cooked within a month. Freo did the same thing last year.
Yeah.
Well, did you watch the game? So we spoke like the mix of slow in Laird, I should say Hunter, Laird, Dawson, and had to change.
Hey,
they put Dawson forward.
Well, I was going to say,
like, he's the
Dawson
only
forward
one.
is not the answer.
He's the only one that had to stay around the footy or put him back to help him launch.
My question
Dawson
is,
cannot be the guy who's getting squeezed.
Their back line is awful, though, right? It's awful. Is Dawson playing back as an intercept defender and a user off halfback? They were better last year when he was doing that. When he went into the middle, they weren't that great. It's great for him. His numbers look amazing, but he's amazing anywhere he plays. Because Laird and Crouch, I don't think you can play him anywhere else.
No, Laird can
lost
go
Miller
back.
from back there
Laird
as well.
can go back.
Yeah, well, he did start back there, didn't
Laird
he?
can go back.
I don't know.
Maybe his first 6-7 years there, I reckon.
Yeah. Me again?
Yeah, mate.
We're seeing I'm going beautifully. We're seeing a little bit of a breakout here from Cody Waitman. Aren't we?
Yep.
8 tackles and a couple of goals on the weekend.
Yep.
I reckon he's emerging as one of the better small to medium forwards.
I did it 2 weeks ago when he'd had 7 games where he'd kicked
that's
over
right.
3 guys, 3 or
Yeah.
plus, and Charlie Cameron took 28 games or something.
And the knock we talked about it that day, was he's either on or he's off.
Yeah.
And I think this game was an in-between game, which is what we need to see more of. So instead of the offs, it's an in-between and an on.
Well, they always say the best players, like a Bont, for example.
Yeah.
He's a 10,
High floor.
or he's an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never going to give you a 3.
No.
Yeah. So, and I think
And if he does, he's probably broken his ankle or something.
something's gone wrong. I wanted to mention Sam Darcy, rising star, 3 goals, 12 disposals. Yeah, I think we all agree that it probably shouldn't have been him, but
Agree.
I'm fine with it. I'll live with it.
He is showing signs of talent, though.
Oh, yeah, no, he should stay in that team. Aaron Norton, how many goals do you reckon he's kicked in 4 games?
I'm going to go with 5.
7.
4. So he's had 1, 2, 1 and 0.
Is he a defender?
Well, they keep
It's hard to
saying,
say 'cause
they
he
keep
keeps
saying
kicking
he's
50s.
not. But, I mean, if you envision, let's say 3 years from now, where you think Darcy and Ugle-Hagan could be,
Yeah.
that's...
So the
You
North.
don't need anything
It's
else.
amazing that Bevo hasn't done it more
No.
because Bevo loves throwing these
So,
guys around.
He's the
Naughty,
one guy he
Yeah.
won't move.
under
Yeah.
18s, it was Sam Taylor fullback, Naughty centre halfback.
Yeah.
Like that, he was a defender.
He's an exceptional reader of the footy as an intercept
And his
defender.
kicking was always the issue.
And it's not like they have a ton of them.
Yeah. But the numbers they kept getting. What's the answer? Because finding the footy's not it for
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they can't
McRae
keep
is
wasting
sub.
this.
How
midfield.
good's Bont?
Yeah, he's amazing.
I could just watch Bont highlights
he
all
was
day.
he was incredible.
Yeah. This is the thing. You got
Saturday night.
Bonting, and then you got Trelaw and Libba absolutely holding
They're
up the end of
killing
the
it.
bargain.
Yeah.
And
But
they're
I
losing
mean,
games.
the Bont thing would be like Adelaide going, we're getting a lot of football in the midfield. Let's send Bont out of it.
Yeah.
With Dawson.
Yeah.
Like,
So true.
Don't give Bevo ideas.
Is it
all
me?
right.
Is it me?
Yeah. I've had 21 disposals. How many metres gained are you hoping I'm had?
21. Let's say 10 per disposal. 200 minimum.
300 plus.
Have you guessed who I'm about to talk about?
Your man Darcy Parish.
Darcy bloody Parish.
No, hold on a minute. We had a request from Kevin at Kev's Kickers, Essendon fan. Please bullet my team this week. Go on.
54 metres gained.
All right, now you're going to bullet him?
54 from what?
No, I
21?
don't want to bullet them.
Okay, well, Kev, sorry, Kev, you're going to have to hear it.
Because this is so typical
You're
of
gonna have to
Essendon.
hear it.
21 disposals, 54 metres. That's one
Yeah.
kick.
But he
one kick forward.
But he somehow won the best on ground medal, even though they lost by 70 points
my
somehow.
God. Anyway,
like he always seems to do.
They've won 2 games. They've beaten St Kilda and Hawthorn, who aren't top 8 sides in my eyes.
No.
They've lost to Swans Port Adelaide. Typical Essendon. They're not going to be bad enough. They're not going to be good enough.
Yep.
They're going to get middle-aged recruits, and that's them for 10
Who
years.
can they get next year? Who's the middle of
Who
the
they
run?
get?
I need to see the free agent list. I'm going to do that next week.
Joel
I'm
Hamley.
I'm going to predict. I'm going to look at who's available, and I'm going to say these are the 2 blokes that Essendon's going
Who's
to
the most
take.
Essendon guy out of this?
It's just, is Dylan Shield still there?
Yeah, he's not playing though.
Yeah.
he was
no, he's
injured
not playing, but yeah.
pre-season injury.
I thought he may have finished up, but
No.
it's just so, like, watching that game, what are they?
They're nothing. They're just very average.
They're Zach Merritt.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one exception.
That's
to
it.
Everything else.
I feel like they've moved some. Like Nick Martin's been
Yeah,
good
it's
going
worked pretty
back,
well.
but then at the same time,
Doesn't do anything.
I was trying to watch out for a bit of Mason Redmond on
Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Friday night. I was kind of like, has that role kind of taken
It's so-
away a little bit from Mason Redmond and how his progression had been coming on?
100%.
1,000%. I reckon at the moment Martin's disposals, without looking too deeply, the last couple of weeks have been 80% defence, 20% forward.
Something like that.
That needs to be 50-50. And if that means he has 22 touches and not 38 touches,
I've really liked his game though.
mate, they're not going anywhere.
I know. It's not. I don't think it's him though. I think it's the
mate,
other stuff.
everyone can run around. Sheasel can run around and have 40 in a defence like
Nah,
that.
he does take it on a bit.
Yeah, a lot of lateral stuff as well.
A lot of lateral stuff.
But I just want him hitting inside 50 kicks.
Okay. Sorry, Kev, you had to hear it.
Sorry, Kev.
Kev wanted it.
They wanted me to bullet,
He wanted
like
the
send
bullet.
them,
He
like
wanted the-
cancel them.
He wanted the bullet.
Oh, okay. Right. Melbourne, what a fantastic week for them. Probably the biggest winners
Yeah.
of the past
Yeah.
week or so. So getting out of Adelaide with 2 wins against South Australian sides.
Yeah.
The Brisbane
in
stuff
Adelaide.
happening to distract from them
That was
rubbish that was
nice.
happening. So,
What do they have going on?
well, their original stuff with all
Oh,
the
yeah,
drugs and all
stuff's
the
been
other-
going. Oh, yeah, no,
yeah, that's
shit,
right.
So
yeah.
the Brisbane stuff happened. Everyone
Oh,
stopped
God,
talking
yeah.
about Melbourne.
Sorry.
It was fantastic for them.
Sex will always beat drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't realise there was a ranking, a hierarchy. But there you go.
You work in the newspaper. Well, what makes the front
Don't
page?
pretend there's not a list up in the wall. out
Yeah,
there.
what makes the front page?
Ideally, when both are mixed in together, that's
the story.
That's the
It
real
goes
one.
Harley Reid, sex, drugs.
Shout out to 2 of the guys who have been holding up their defence. Obviously, Stephen May has been doing it for a long time. Came back, had the ribs.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
It looked
tough.
sore early when he
did.
Someone landed on him, but not really
Yeah,
even
yeah.
squished him. It was like, oh, he's
Yeah.
ginger.
And just had
looks so-
every reason
Yeah.
to either not play at all or to just yank himself out halfway through that game, or at least
Yeah.
sort of late in the game when it looked like it was done. And then Judd McVie as well, doing a really good job.
Is that who
on
they're calling
Isaac.
Silky?
Yeah.
After Sean Burgoyne?
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon there's a bit of
Didn't
Sean
know that.
Burgoyne there.
I like that.
that.
Yeah. Good
can-
WA boy,
Nah,
but he's
he
just
can
one of
play.
those ones who's under the radar in that sort of back half who's just
He was so under the radar. I remember when he got drafted and it came up that he was W. I was like, how have I not heard of this bloke?
He
came out of nowhere, and I normally have a pretty good handle on the kids coming through, but he was so under the radar. But
especially out of that Midwest
factory
region. Yeah.
Well done.
I'll tell you who's bloody nice, and I'm going to go with it, and there's a chance to win the Rising Star if he goes up another peg.
Caleb Windsor. Yeah, he's.
I just had a look. He had 16 disposals for 431 metres.
That's a lot of nice things.
You know what I mean? He reminds me a bit of Bailey Smith out on the wings when Bailey Smith was
I could see
good-looking fella, bit of shag on
got
top.
Got the hair going.
And ran with it, carried with it, kicked it. Looks like he kicks it pretty nicely.
This is a very good draft crop. Good draft crop.
They're all just ready to go. He's so ready to go.
Carlton is my last team. Jeez, they were lucky. I think we saw, I know Freo didn't win the game.
Did Freo smash him in the clearances?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smashed him in the clearances. So I think there was two things that you can do. Well, obviously, they're related. If you win the clearances, you keep the inside 50s down. So they had 48 inside 50s, which I think was their lowest for the season. And they just basically cut them off. So Freo almost got it done, but I reckon that's a bit of a blueprint for teams trying to shut down the scoring of Carlton. Win the midfield battle. Don't let the ball go in there.
Well, they're thin in the midfield, and that's why I backed Richmond that night. They're thin.
Well, Walsh back this week
does help massively.
Wiedering was excellent first game back. Was it first game or second game back? Second game back?
Second, I think.
Second game back. Yeah, he played against North. But he was great. Without him, I don't think they win that game because he kept Amos to 0.
But he also found the footy.
Have you seen that Freo have asked for a little bit of an explanation from the
They've sent some clips.
AFL just about Amos, the treatment off the ball, wasn't able to lead up, was sort of restricted. So I think they're just, coaches do that every now and then with their key forwards or their prime midfielders, just so that hopefully the next
put
week,
it on the agenda.
A couple of extra free kicks.
100%.
Clarko told me a funny story. I'm not even going to say it, but
come on,
you got to find.
You can't tell us the story and then not tell the story.
You can't do that.
I think it was I can't.
Just change the names of the players.
No, it was involving Fremantle. And they were. This is back.
That's years ago, mate. Everyone's changed.
Is this a Ryan Crowley story?
No, and they're picking the back person off at centre bounces, so the sweeper.
Right.
They're coming in and splitting the sweeper pretty hard.
This is a Ross era.
No, pre. It might have been Mark Harvey.
Ross.
Mark Harvey time.
And I think Clarko might have sent some vision in showing what they're doing, that just keep an eye on my sweeper getting picked off at centre bounces, please.
Yeah.
And I think the first set of bounce, I think the sweeper got picked off and knocked out. And Clarko couldn't help but show the vision on the plane to the umpire flying home.
Yeah, right.
I think
this is what I was talking about.
I think it cost him a fair fine. It's funny when you use names and wind up in the story. But
absolutely. That's Carlton done?
That's Carlton. No, I've got the Giants. Hey, let's tip our hat. And I know that we say to West Coast, for example, that they rely so much on McGovern being their best player, Yo being their best player, Tim Kelly being their best player. The Giants aren't much different. They've got a lot of good players, but Steve Coniglio, we have to tip our hat to this man. He is a superstar of the competition again. Another 27 and 2 goals. Lockie Whitfield spent a long time on the bench with a neck or eye.
Almost a whole quarter.
Yeah, ended up with nearly 30. Yep. Toby Green kicks 5. And Josh Kelly has 27. Toby Green goes nuts.
And they can allow, like Tom had a quiet game. Tom Green had a quiet game. But so they can have one going quiet now because they've got so many.
But not many of them do.
No,
like every weekend you get that up and you go, they're superstars, and I know that's why they're superstars. They're meant to be there. But I reckon they have the most consistent group of superstars these days.
No one talks about Coniglio anymore.
There is zero fluctuations between we spoke about Bont being, and Bont's a different level probably.
Yeah.
But they're just Coniglio's standard and Josh Kelly's standard and Whitfield's standard. They're a 9.5 or an 8.
So it's Whitfield, Toby Green, not in order. Tom Green, Coniglio, Josh Kelly, and Sam Taylor.
They're their best players.
They're the big 6.
Yeah, and Jesse Hogan's going bananas. He could have had a big day, but
probably on the next run.
Yeah, next. But those 6.
Are we forgetting anyone? I don't think so.
No, I think that's the 6.
I think they're the 6.
Yeah,
Super 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think we give those guys, and it's a bit of the Giants.
All of them could be All-Australian.
If we talk about the Giants, we give a bit of the old. Sam Taylor, best defender in the comp. But we don't really go, hang on, Steve Coniglio is a top 10 midfielder in the comp at the moment.
Yeah.
Josh Kelly's the best wingman in the comp at the moment. Tom Green's an inside bull, but he's competing against other inside bulls who find the footy for fun.
Yeah.
So these are the best players in that position, nearly.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Anyway.
And then they've got a whole bunch of guys on the next
level
tier.
Level two is pretty healthy
That's
too.
another story.
I think it's pretty clear they're the best team.
More players from level 2 are going to creep to level 1 as opposed to drop to level 3.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Last club is Collingwood. I'm standing in Nick Rin's spot, so to be remiss if I didn't say the vibes are just off here.
The vibes are off.
They're way off.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
Because this is a club that we saw.
Where
we've
they
seen
at?
so
Where are they
much.
at? Is the second sentence.
Where are they at?
Yeah.
Was it this
Because the
podcast?
vibes, and where are they at? Because the vibes. But how many times have we seen them just run over the top of sides in the last quarter? They had that done to them.
Yeah.
They were very
And
lucky.
they were just,
They
if
were
that game
so
goes for another
lucky.
2
Nick
minutes,
Dacos-
3 minutes, 4 minutes, they lose.
Nick Dacos
Guaranteed.
had 2 in the last and looked like he'd honestly run from Melbourne to Adelaide to play. He looked like he was out of league.
very strange.
Hardwick would look like Toby Green cross Lance Franklin.
It's amazing.
They were.
Are you ready to concede the short pre-season thing yet, or no?
No, I'll tell you what I am ready to. Was it this podcast that I was attacked
You're on so
about
many.
my Jordan,
It's hard to
about
take
my
back
on all
Jordan,
these
Jordan
podcasts.
DeGoey? He's the one you tag, you stamp out, let Dacos run, let Dacos be Dacos.
You've been saying that for a while. I don't think we attacked
no,
you.
no, but Jordan
Hawthorn found out the hard
DeGoey
way.
on the weekend.
Yeah.
He was very good.
Like, and they ended up cutting Dacos free, which in the end it was like that opened the game in Hawthorn's favour
It actually
to
did, yeah.
go silly the other way.
Yep.
I think that is Dacos is a beautiful footballer, and I do not want to downplay how good a footballer he is. But he's going to get 30, and it's a Nick Martin 30.
Yeah, it can be.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let him have it.
I don't think I ever
Stop the
got
goey.
sucked into the Nick Dacos is the best player in the competition.
No,
conversation.
but he was a star.
Yeah,
he would have won the Brownlow
no,
last
he's
year.
clearly a
He would have won
star.
the Brownlow.
But there's I don't know how many players, probably at least 5, maybe 10 that I'd prefer to have.
Last year?
Yeah,
Last year.
I think so. Still, yeah, at least 5.
Forget what you've seen the first 4 weeks here, or
I think
5 weeks.
5. Give me 5.
Last year, when he was at the
Yeah.
peak, when he was having 45.
But I'm not just talking midfielders either.
Yeah, I know that.
Like if you're building a team.
Yeah, I think I had him at 1 last year. I thought he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But now,
He's very, very good.
now he's sort of slipped into that. Can find a lot of footy.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in the All-Australian squad now.
No,
He wouldn't be.
I don't know who would be for Collingwood.
Not many.
DeGoey's been very quiet until that game.
Not
That was his
many.
best
And the
game.
bye comes at a very good
I
time
don't
for
think
them.
any-
They've got some stuff to figure out.
Crazy.
We're going to say goodbye as well. Ryan, Xavier,
Thanks, Rob.
thanks
Get
for your
some sleep,
time,
mate.
guys. I'll try and get some sleep.
After
and
that
pronounce
intro,
yours
you
correctly.
really just started to lift after that. It was
Thanks to our listeners as well. And don't miss the mailbag tomorrow. We'll chat to you then.